whether you want to get your hands dirty in our Motivator workshop,
capture the perfect shot in our photography studios,
perform on stage in our theatre,
or unleash your inner Einstein in our science labs,
we've got it all.
Apply today to City of Westminster College. www.sovereigncomics.co.uk and get your latest issue of Mr. Numbervator's Maths comic book series today. You are now tuned in to the Mr. Numbervator show every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. Let's get mathematical.
Good evening and welcome. It's Wednesday, it's 5:30, and you know what that means. You know that I'm smiling. And why am I smiling? Well, I'm smiling because I'm doing what I love to do every day. And that is teach, give you, the young person, the parent, the adult, the teacher, give you that confidence with maths, give you that love of maths, and then hopefully you will then go away and deliver it in your way so that everyone becomes better with number. So every Wednesday on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station, you have me for 1 whole hour, and it's everything to do with maths. And you know that I love teaching maths, I'm passionate about maths, and I want you to be the same. Today's show I've called Financial Literacy. Now, when I talk about financial literacy, just what does that mean? What does financial literacy mean? What does it look like? Before I give you the answer, let me tell you about what I was doing today. And I'm privileged, and I count myself lucky that I get to work with amazing young people. And when I say young people, it could be a young person from 7 years old through to 70 years old. We are all young within that age range. And I was working with some teachers today, and I was working with some young people, and we were talking about finance and money, about budgeting. We were talking about interpreting and reading utility bills. We were talking about if you want to get a new mobile tariff, how do you know the best one that suits and matches you? So this was so amazing. But what was amazing about it was that I started talking to some 11-year-olds about the difference between debit cards and credit cards. And you know what? They know a lot. They were telling me some really, really detailed knowledge and information about the difference between a debit card and a credit card. And one young person said, Mr. Numbervator, it's easy. A credit card is not your money you're using, and a debit card, it is your money you're using. And I thought that was such a lovely, simple, easy way to put it. It is though, because that is what the difference is. A debit card is you're using your money in your bank account. A credit card, you're using the bank's money. They've loaned you the money. But because they've loaned you the money, they have to get a benefit from that. And so they charge interest. And that's what we're going to be learning about today. Financial literacy is about the confidence that you have with dealing and handling and managing money. So the young people, I did say I was going to give a shout out to them. They were absolutely brilliant. But I think this young person was about 12 years old. That differentiation, the way it was explained, your money and the bank's money, I thought was amazing. And then they went on to tell me about, they know about what a mortgage is. And I asked them, what is a mortgage? And they said, oh, my mum and dad got a mortgage, or my auntie's got a mortgage. So what is a mortgage? And then they were talking to me about loans, where you can invest money. And then I started saying, so is financial literacy also about going shopping? And they were saying, yes, it's about going shopping. It's about spending. When you go to your supermarket, There's special offers there. How do you know which one suits you and matches you? Then they started talking about mobile telephones, and they were saying to me, yeah, I have to compare the market. They were looking at different different providers, and they were talking about how they know which one is the best one for them. Then they started talking about going on holiday and airfares, and they started mentioning different airlines. This for me was amazing. So that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing this morning. And that's one of the reasons why I planned today's show so that it would coincide with my visit to this school and college. So today's lesson is about financial literacy and the difference between compound interest and simple interest. And when I'm talking about compound interest, you know, sometimes when you're walking along the road and you see they're digging up the road, and then you see a big machine, and then it's pounding down the tar to make the road flat again. That's what compound interest is. You're pounding down your interest, and by pounding down the interest, you're getting more money. That's compound interest, and I call it interest on top of interest. So, what is financial literacy? For me, this is my interpretation and this is my understanding. Financial literacy is about having an awareness. It's about having an awareness about everything to do with money and financial skills so that you make the best choices and decisions about your money. Financial literacy is about being able to use your understanding of money to make those choices, and then being able to manage and to voice what you know, what you don't know, and what you would like to know about financial literacy. And when I use the word voice, when I say you're able to voice, being able to voice is being able to ask the right questions. It's being able to answer the questions that are posed to you. It's about you confidently directing others so that they can understand about financial literacy. And financial literacy, it includes how to budget, where to invest your money, how to manage debt, how to save, how to purchase. It's all tied up in that title, financial literacy. Because if you are literate, it means that you can read and write, but you can also understand. And so being financially literate, it means that you're able to read, learn, know, and do about finance. So if you're financially literate, that means you can avoid making bad decisions. You can achieve financial stability for yourself. You can plan for the future. You can give yourself peace of mind, less stress by making sure that you manage and distribute your money the right way. You can track your spending, and you can set yourself financial goals. You can create budgets. Right, I've got this amount of money. I want to get this. You can budget. You can have little pockets where you put little bits amounts of money and then you keep to it. But sometimes we don't keep to it. So what happens if we don't keep to it? So financial literacy, it's a lovely term that makes you think about everything to do with money and the way that you are using what money you have got to support yourself and others and be stable so that you can do what you want within reason. You can do what you want and you have an element of success and you feel good, well-being. So let me start the session with understanding about the word interest, because I've said to you, today's show is about financial literacy, the difference between compound interest and simple interest. So what is interest? Now, the younger the person that I'm working with, when I ask them what is interest, I do get some really funny replies because they think interest is about something that occupies your attention, which is fair enough because it is that kind of interest. But when we're talking about interest in the financial, in the money terms, it does mean something else. But I'm laughing because, young people are innocent. And if I say interest, it's like, what interests you? Do you like football? Do you like artwork? Do you like dancing? And so on. But in the terms of finance, money, interest is money that is paid regularly at a particular percentage. Usually when money has been lent or borrowed. So let's take each of those in turn. If I lend the bank my money, that means if I save with a particular bank, they will give me interest as a reward for me using their bank to save with. So for me, saving money with one of the high street banks, I'm not going to mention any individual ones, but the high street banks, one starts with the letter S, one with the letter B, red and blue. But anyway, that you save with them, and then they give you interest as a reward for saving money with them. Now, if, for example, you borrow money from the bank, because remember, there's a difference between borrowing and lending. When you borrow, you have to give or pay something back. The bank is lending you the money that they have got. You are borrowing it from the bank. So you have to pay the bank something for them lending you the money. That is interest. Now, can you understand the difference between the two? So there's the interest that you would get because you are saving money in the bank. And by you saving money in the bank can use your money to invest in other areas, make more money from your money, and then give you a percentage of that as a thank you. That's what interest is. Okay? It's like a reward for you depositing and saving money in a bank. Now, the other interest is the one that you incur, and that means it's the one that you get because you've borrowed money from the bank. They've lent you the money, you've borrowed it from the bank, so they are charging you for borrowing the money from them. That's interest as well. So interest is really, really interesting. It is really, really interesting. Interest is really, really interesting because you can be rewarded, but at the same time, it can go against you. So you need to know how to manage your money. And that is what financial literacy is all about. So today's show is entitled Financial Literacy, the difference between compound interest and simple interest. So guess what? I'm going to start with simple interest. Now, a young person about 14, 15, once said to me, Mr. Numbervator, what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest? Simple interest is calculated only on the original principal amount. Let me repeat that. Simple interest is calculated only on the original amount. I use the word principal because it's a flash word, but I wanted to use it so you understand when you hear it again. So the principal, that is the main, the first starting one. That's the simple interest. And compound interest, the way I like to teach it is compound interest is interest on top of interest. And it's calculated on the original principal amount plus the interest accumulated. And compound interest gives you faster money growth. And only yesterday, I was talking with a young person and I was saying that, when you go to the high street bank, ask them about compound interest. Because if you start at a young age, I've just mentioned the fact that faster money growth. Imagine if you're 13, 14 and you are depositing money in a compound interest account, you know that your money is going to grow really, really quickly. So by the time you're nearly 20, you're going to have a lot of money in the bank. So really investigate about compound interest and find out. Simple interest then is usually used for short-term loans. Compound interest is more common with long-term investments. So simple interest is usually used for short-term loans, like, I need £100, £1,000, I'm going to go and get it from the bank, blah, blah, blah. Compound interest is where you want to deposit an amount of money for a certain amount of time. You're not going to touch it, but it's going to give you some really faster, rapid money growth, long-term investments. That is the main difference between simple interest and compound interest. So this is the math show. Let's do some maths. Okay, let's do some maths. So simple interest is calculated annually using the original amount. Okay, so simple interest is calculated annually using the original amount. So I've made up a question. Let's just say you've got £3,000 and you're going to invest it for 2 years at a rate of interest of 5%. So this is simple interest, not compound interest, simple interest. So you've got £3,000, you're going to get a 5% rate of interest. That means you're going to get some money back and you're going to do it over 2 years. So simple interest is a fixed amount added on every year based on the original amount. Let me say that again. Simple interest is a fixed amount added on every year based on the original amount. So my original amount is 3,000 and I'm getting 5% interest over 2 years. There's a formula. There's a formula that helps us to arrive at the answer a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently. So I'm just going to explain what the formula is. And when I use the word formula, it's like a code that you are using to get an answer. That's a good explanation. There you go. So a formula is like you're using like a code and that allows you to get your answer. So I is the simple interest, I for interest. So I is a simple interest and that equals PRT. P is your original amount, R is the rate of interest, and T, guess what it is? It's the time period. So I'm now going to read the question out again. And as I'm reading it out, you can be slotting in the numbers that match the PRT. So remember, P is the original amount, R is the rate of interest, and T is the time period. So simple interest, I equals PRT. Someone has got £3,000. They're going to invest it in a simple interest account, which is going to give them 5% for 2 years. That means they're not going to touch it for 2 years. 5% as a decimal is 0.05, yeah? So 5% as a decimal is 0.05. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put in all of the data, all of the numbers that I've read out to you, and then I'm going to put it into our equation. Right, so I said that I've got £3,000. I've said to you, so the original amount is £3,000. The rate of interest is 5%. When we're calculating simple interest, we have it over 100. So 5% is 5 over 100, and 5 over 100 is, as a decimal, 0.05. So my calculation looks like this. 3,000 multiplied by 0.05 multiplied by the 2 years equals 300. So that means at the end of the 2 years, at the end of the first year, 300, at the end of the second year, 300. But if it was a compound interest account, it would be a lot more. And this is the reason why we want to encourage our young people just starting out in life to look into investments and stocks and shares, and where should you invest your money? Compound interest. Compound interest. Okay, so let me go through the same question again. £3,000 at a rate of 5% rate of interest over 2 years. So £3,000 multiplied by 0.05. Where did that come from? Well, I said that it's 5% rate of interest. 5% means 5 over 100. 5 over 100 is 0.05. So it's 3,000 multiplied by 0.05 multiplied by the time period, which is 2 years, multiplied by the 2, and that gives you 300. I keep on saying maths is such an amazing subject, okay? And why is it amazing? Because it allows me to enjoy the experience of being financially literate. Maths is about numbers and equations and feeling confident about giving change and calculating degrees in an angle. This is what maths is all about. And simple interest and compound interest is a key part of the maths curriculum. And why can't we teach it, the difference between the two, to someone who's in year 4 or year 5? They've got brains and their brains can understand. And as they get older, it will mean a lot more to them. So we can start it at a young age that is applicable to the individual child. Not all children are going to take it up. So you have to know your cohort. You have to know the young people, children you're working with. I've got another question. And this time I've changed the name. I've given someone a name, and her name is Sally. So Sally has got £600. She's going to get 5% rate of interest, and she wants to know how much she's going to get at the end of the year. So this is just 1 year. There's no 2 years, it's 1 year. So interest, which is I, is P, which is the original amount, which is 600. The rate of interest is 5%. So as we know, that's 0.05, and it's times by 1 because it's at the end of 1 year. So 5 over 100 times 600 equals £30. So at the end of that year, Sally will get 600 plus 30, which is £630. Now, if that was invested in the compound interest account over 2 years, then at the end of the second year, you would get interest on top of the 630 and not just from the 600. So can you see the difference between compound interest and simple interest? It allows you to grow your money faster, but you make more sense of what you are doing. Here's another question. I love making up questions because when I make up questions, I sit at home or I might be, on a bus or a train, and I'm just making up questions based on my experience and based on knowing young people and knowing what they don't know, but they do want to learn to know. So, Petra has got £350 in an account, and she's going to leave it in there for 3 years, and the rate of interest she's going to get is 8% per annum. Per annum means each year. How much will she have after 3 years? Right, I can almost hear you all saying 8% is the same as 8 over 100, so that is 0.08. That's what it is, 0.08. But anyway, we're going to get there. So how are we going to calculate this? So it's 8 over 100, which is 0.08, multiplied by 350, and that is £28. Okay, £28. So at the end of the first year, she will get £28. Now, remember, she's going to do it for 3 years. Now, this is simple interest. So that means she's going to get 28 multiplied by 3 because she's got her 3 years. Okay? So this is the difference between compound interest and simple interest. She's going to get £28 at the end of the first year, the second year, and the third year. Now, if that was compound interest, then that £28 would go on top of the original amount, and then the interest would be calculated on more. So this is the difference between compound interest and simple interest. Okay? This is the difference between compound interest and simple interest. And we're just having lots of fun while we learn at the same time. Okay? At the same time. Wow, this is amazing, because I'm having messages sent to me. Someone has just said that someone has just said, oh, they didn't know about the difference between simple interest and compound interest, and they are a parent. They are a parent. There's nothing wrong with that, because we do not know everything. I definitely don't know everything, but I'm open to learning. I am open to learning. And that is what the difference is between you're ready for learning, you're open to learning, and you want to learn, and you want to make a difference to yourself, but also to other people. You want to give them that confidence. You want to give them that knowledge. You want to give them that understanding. So compound interest is different to simple interest, and today's show is about financial literacy, the difference between compound interest and simple interest. I'm going to go for a quick ad break, but when we come back after the ad break, we're going to be learning about compound interest, and the next part of the lesson is going to be equally as exciting as the first part of the lesson, but it's going to get a bit heavy, but I'm going to make it so much lighter to understand that you will enjoy it. So don't go too far.
Are you a great parent with a new baby or infant up to 2 years old? From drop-in breastfeeding clinic, antenatal and postnatal care, day and play sessions, plus a wide range of family activities, your local family wellbeing centres in Brent can support you and your family in lots of useful ways.
The new maths comic, the new Mr. Numbervator maths comic is out. This is our latest one, which is on the multiplication tables check. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. It's packed. It is packed full of useful activities that you just have to do them. You just have to do them, and you can write on the book, rub it out in pencil. You've got to get this. sovereigncomics.co.uk. Dr_knows_it@hotmail.com is behind me. The maths comic, the MTC maths comic is out. I'm going to be talking about it later on in the show. Don't go too far.
Are you a newish parent in Brent? Have you ever thought you could do with some help? Many new parents experience some challenges in the first couple of years in their little one's life. Maybe it's not getting into a rhythm with breastfeeding, or feeling low after the birth of your baby. These are perfectly normal experiences, and local help is at hand, from drop-in breastfeeding clinics to support before and after birth, to stay and play sessions, plus a wide range of family activities. Your local family wellbeing centres in Brent can support you and your family in many great ways and for free. A free range of health, education and welfare support is available to every parent and infant to give you the best start in life. There are 8 family wellbeing centres in Brent, so there's one in your local community with support for everyone, even for dads. So There's lots on offer at your local family wellbeing centres in Brent. Find out more about the support they can give you and your family on our website at www.brent.gov.uk/family wellbeing centres.
Okay, mate, you're lighting out the washer. Start on Monday, right? Hiring migrant workers who aren't entitled to work in the UK is illegal. If you're caught, you could be fined £10,000 per worker or face up to 2 years in prison. With the cash in hand on Friday, no questions asked, I understand. It's your responsibility to check your workers' legal status.
Right, sir, I'm arresting you for working illegally in this country, and I'm arresting you also for employing this gentleman illegally.
Don't end up as illegal as they are. Visit ukba.homeoffice.gov.uk.
Hey, Londoners! Are you ready to start your next educational adventure?
Welcome to City of Westminster College, where learning is anything but ordinary.
Picture this. You stroll through our campuses in Paddington and Maida Vale, surrounded by buzzing energy and endless possibilities.
With over 200 courses to choose from, there's something here for everyone. Whether you want to get your hands dirty in our motor vehicle workshop,
Capture the perfect shot in our photography studios,
perform on stage in our theatre,
or unleash your inner Einstein in our science labs.
we've got it all.
No, this is one of the dreams of reality.
Apply today to City of Westminster College.
Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of the math show with me, Mr. Numbervator, on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station.
Go to www.sovereigncomics.co.uk and get your latest issue of Mr. Numbervator's Maths comic book series today. You are now tuned in to the Mr. Numbervator show every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on Chalk Hill Community Radio Station. Let's get mathematical.
Welcome back after the short ad break. Now, before we went to the ad break, I gave you a simple interest question. Petra has got £350 in an account, and she's going to leave in there for 3 years, and the interest rate is going to be 8% per annum, which means every year. How much will she have after the 3 years? So 8% of 350 is the same as saying 8 divided by 100. That gives you 0.08. You're going to multiply that by the £350 that you've got in your account, and that will give you £28. So at the end of the first year, you have got your £28. So if you want to know how much you're going to have after the 3 years, it's going to be simple. It's going to be 3 times 28. And 3 times 28 is 84. So her new balance at the end of the 3 years is going to be 350 plus the 84. That's the interest that she has accrued. That means that she's built up, plus the £84, and that gives you a total of £434. So interest, 8% of £350 is the same as saying 8 divided by 100, and 8 divided by 100 is 0.08 multiplied by 350, and that would give you £28. So the interest in 3 years is 3 times £28, so 84. So her new balance will be £350 plus the £84 that she's got for her interest, and that's because she's saved money in her bank. And altogether, she's got a grand total of £434. That's quite a lot of money, but if it had gone into a compound interest account, she would have got a lot more. And this is what I'm talking to you about today. Go out there, research, find out, learn about, ask the right questions. Compound interest and simple interest. Is there a minimum amount of money that you're meant to have before you can do it? What are there any limits or restrictions? But there's a clear difference between compound interest and simple interest. I want to go back to the maths comic because it's just hot off the press. We've only just received it today. And this is the Mr. Numbervator maths comic to do with the multiplication tables check. So the comic was sponsored by Edmonton County Partnership and also the NHS. They were the ones who supported the printing and making of these, and what a good job that they've done. This is the back cover and this is the front cover. And isn't that amazing? Isn't the graphics are just first class? I know I'm biased, but they really are though. So if I just turn to a double page, look at that quality. And you're being taught about the multiplication tables, the MTC. And I'm just looking, and this one, oh, okay, yeah, this one is about using your knowledge of the times tables to get an answer. So yeah, it's very, very interesting, and it's all my work. And then at the back, you've got some lovely activities that you can actually do to support your learning and make you a better mathematician. Isn't that lovely? Make you a better mathematician. Right, let's do some compound interest calculations. Right, so I'm going to read a question out once or twice. So if you've got paper and a pen, make notes. You don't have to write the whole question word for word. Just make notes that you can follow, and then you can help me to solve this problem. Right, Jane, I'm making up names, yeah? Jane has got £600 that she's going to invest in a compound interest account, and for that she's going to get a 2.8% rate of interest for 3 years. Okay, she's specifically chosen the compound interest account. Now remember what I said, 28% is the same as 28 over 100, and 28 over 100 is 0.028. So if she's got the £6,000, at the end of year one, she will receive 2.8% of 6,000, and that is 0.028 multiplied by 6,000 gives you a total of £168. Now that £168 will be added to the second year. So what's happened now is that they've got 6,000, which was her original amount, £168, which is her interest for saving. So altogether, she's now got £6,168 to start year two with. So she's going to start year two with that amount of money. Now, 2.8% of £6,168 is £172.70. So on top of the 6,168, she's going to add another £172.70 to give a grand total of, I can hear you all shouting, a grand total of £6,340.70. That's after 2 years. So she's just made that amount of money over 2 years. Right, we're going on to year three. So at the end of year two, she had 6,340.70. When she starts year three, she's going to start with that amount, but she's going to get her tax. She's going to get her rate of interest on 6,340.70. So 2.8, that's the famous rate of interest, is 2.8. As a decimal, 2.8 is 2.8 divided by 100. And when you're dividing by 100, you've got 2 zeros. So remember, the decimal point does not move. The digits move around the decimal point. So 2.8% is the same as 0.028 multiplied by your original initial amount. That's the principal. That's 0.028 multiplied by the 6,340.70. That gives you £177.54. Now that amount is a lot bigger than if you just left it in a simple interest account where interest is calculated annually, but only on your original amount. Compound interest, you're getting interest on top of interest. So let's see how much interest Jane's going to get. So at the start of year 3, she's going to get 2.8% on £6,340.70. So she's going to get 2.8% on top of that £6,340.70. 2.8 as a decimal is 0.028. We're going to multiply 0.028 by 6,340, and we get a grand total of £177.54. Now, can you see the difference between that amount and then the simple interest amount? And the banks are not there to be telling us. We have to go and ask. Yeah, they're not going to start putting adverts out there compounding, because they could potentially lose quite a bit of money. Okay, so that's the difference between compound interest and simple interest. Simple interest, you get the end of the year, you could take it, go to McDonald's and spend it all. Compound interest, which it really excites me, is you're getting interest on top of interest. That's what you're doing. Yeah. So at the end of the first year, whatever interest you've made, you get your interest on top of the original amount plus that interest. This is how celebrities and films, pop stars, this is how they get richer and richer, because they know what they're doing. And why can't we, the ordinary person, be part of that journey? So compound interest, look it up. Find out more information about the difference between compound interest and simple interest. So I've mentioned the Mr. Numbervator maths comic, which is the MTC. It's out. I think Dean said that this is one of the first copies that he actually saw and held. So it's out. I'm going to show you to camera without hiding my face. There you go. That's the MTC. And we've put on their master, the MTC. Anyone who would like a copy, you can go to sovereigncomics.co.uk or Dr_Knowsit, NOSEZIT, at hotmail.com. Once again, when I was leaving one of the educational establishments this morning, someone put this into my hand, and it is a Key Stage 2 SAT booklet. And this is the arithmetic booklet. So all of the calculations in here, apart from me being able to do, all the calculations in here are absolutely all to do with arithmetic. So question number 1, 8 multiplied by 33. Now, come on, that's easy. 8 times 3 and 8 times 3 again. Because remember, in the number 88, you've got an 8 in the ones column, you've got an 8 in the tens column. So they've got different values because of where they are on the place value line. So that was the first question, okay? 8 times 33. The next one is 72 divided by 9. If you know your multiplication tables and if you know your related division facts, that is a giveaway of a question. It's worth 1 mark. 72 divided by 9 is 8. Why? Because 8 times 9 is 72. So I use the inverse. I use inverse operations to help me get the answer. Another question. If I'm going to start going towards the back of the booklet. Here's a lovely fraction question. 1/4 plus 1/5 plus 1/10. Let me say that again. What a lovely question. 1/4 plus 1/5 plus 1/10. Yeah. Well, 1/4 as a decimal, 0.25, 1/5, 0.2, and 1/10 is 10%. But do we need to know that information? No, that's just me maybe showing off my knowledge of maths and whatever. But all you need is you need to look for your common denominator. Here we go. Dean's nodding his head. You're looking for your common denominator. And if I look at my 3 separate fractions, 10's the biggest number. So 5 can divide into 10, and 4 can divide into 10. So therefore, answering that question is relatively quite straightforward. Then you've got percentage questions, 45% of 460. But that's easy, because if you round up 45% to 50%, then half of 460 is 230. Then you can adjust. But always look for a rough answer. Fractions, 2/6 subtract 1/8. I wonder what you have to do there. And then to finish off, we've got some decimals, 0.9 times by 2,000, and then 15% of 1,000. So the maths show this evening was actually quite a good choice. Now, I've never said to anyone that I am the best teacher, because that's just a bit big-headed, yeah? What I have said is that I am the best at what I do. And that's the difference between me and maybe some other people, okay? So I think you're all happy with the understanding of simple interest and compound interest. Compound interest is interest on top of interest. That's what compound interest means. It means interest on top of interest. So you're getting that additional bonus, and that's why the money can grow rapidly. The money grows rapidly. Wow, we're coming to the end of the math show. When we started the math show about 55 minutes ago, I was just so excited about delivering the show, and I still am excited about delivering the show, because you know me, I sleep, eat, drink, everything I do is to do with maths. And if I tell myself that, then, you know, I'm going to enjoy the journey. Yeah? So, everyone, you need to get the comic. It's out, hot off the press. Hot off the press means if you touch it, it hurts yourself, okay? The Mr. Numbervator MTC, Multiplication Tables Check comic. The front part of the comic, you've got the actual comic that Dean has so superbly worked on. And then towards the back of the book, you've got a whole series of activities, maths activities designed around the multiplication tables. That is magic to my ears, because you know that if you're in year 4, and year 4s, that means you are aged between 8 and 9. June of next year, you have to do your MTC. Now, I use the word have to do it. It's not like you'll be sort of told to sit down and answer. It helps prepare you and your new receiving year 5 teacher what support they can give you when you get into year 5. Okay, so knowing your multiplication tables is really, really important. Why? Because it prepares you for the year 5 maths curriculum, and it can be tricky. Today, I've been in 4 places today. The second place was a year 5 classroom, just looking at fractions and just looking at a whole range of maths. But what I'm saying is that it's the confidence that we want you to have. It doesn't matter if you get the answer wrong. It's what did you do to get that answer, and what would you do differently? And this is what the math show's about. This is what the comics are about. We've got a whole series of comics, and they all come with differentiated activity books. And that's because we are passionate. Sovereign Comics, we want you all to be the best at maths. So I say maths is for everyone, and everyone can do math. That's what I believe in. Everyone can do maths, but it depends on who is teaching you. And whenever I go to different schools and colleges, I always ask the young people, what is it you don't like about maths? Oh, my teacher, they're boring. Why are they boring? Because when we go in there, we're going to sit down, turn to page 42 and answer all the questions. Well, I find that boring. I will find that boring as well. And so as teachers and professionals and advisory and consultants, we have to know how to engage and sustain that engagement with our young people, because they're used to looking at the computer, playing computer games for hours and hours. But when it comes to the maths learning, it's a whole new ball game. And what that means is they don't play the rules the way they should play the rules. But that's okay. We were all young once. I still am young. But anyway, so remember, every Wednesday, the maths show with me, Mr. Numbervator, on Chalker Community Radio Station. Now, next week, it's half term. So on Friday, this is when schools finish, this coming Friday. That's in 2 days' time. And then you've got 1 week's holiday away from school. But I don't want you to be away from learning. You can be away from school, but not away from learning. So here's what I'm going to say to you. Year fours, spend 5 minutes a day going through your tables. That's just year fours. Just 5 minutes a day. Not 5 hours, not 50 minutes, but 5 minutes. That is nothing. When you wake up, rub your eyes, you can start your tables then. Just pick a table, and I can guarantee when you go back to the classroom, you are going to be top of the top. And that's all that we can want from you. That's all that we can want from you. Okay? So I really, really hope that you've enjoyed the math show this evening. We've looked at the comic. We've looked at a Key Stage 2 SAT booklet. And we've done so much to do with mathematics. Okay? Please don't forget what you've been taught today. Okay? Don't forget, because I'm being taught. We're all being taught at some stage, yeah? And I think we must never feel that we are beyond learning and education. Education is a lifelong skill, and it's a very, very important lifelong skill. Can I wish you all a happy half term? Whatever you're doing, enjoy, keep safe. If you're told not to go somewhere, don't go there. Don't go there. This is Mr. Numbervator's safety pep talk, because I want to see you back again in 2 weeks' time, basically, yeah? So if you do go out, don't talk to strangers. Go from your front door to the shop and back again, not to your friend's house, then go to Sam, then KFC. No, you go straight shop home. But more importantly, learn your tables. Do some maths every day so that it keeps you topped up. And then when we come back again, I was just going to sing that song, We'll Meet Again, but my voice is terrible. When we meet again, then it means that your numeracy skills, your arithmetic skills, your times table skills will be of a very, very high level. Remember, the studio number to call in on is 07535 644 850. I'm going to repeat that, 07535 644 850. Not 850, 850. There's a big difference, okay? So there you go. But listen, have a lovely evening. Dean, I'm getting some more of these, aren't I, you said?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. But today, two more.
If you want them.
Yeah, of course I want. I'm going to sleep with those next to me tonight. They're amazing. It's going to go on. He's going to travel with me. It's going to be all over the place. But listen, have a great evening, a great half term. Work hard. Maths is the best subject. Yes, I'm allowed to say that because it is the best subject ever. It opens all doors for you. If you're good at maths, the doors will be open for you. If you're that good at maths, at the end of year 10, do your GCSE 1 year early. That will go on your CV. And anyone getting that CV, when they see you've done your maths GCSE in year 10, you have got the job, because it shows that you were persistent, you were dedicated, you did not give up. And these are the employees that employers want working for them. Have a great half term. See you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you. Goodbye. Did the siren come out when you were listening?
No.